afternoon, everybody. Friday, 2 o'clock. Gosh, 20th of September. Can I just say before we start that Leslie has actually gone in for her really needed surgery. I'm sure she won't mind me letting you know. All's gone well this morning, and she's had the surgery, and she's sort of in intensive care now, and they're keeping an eye on her and just making sure she's doing okay. So I'm sure that you all join me in sending all our love to her. She'll be up and running in no time soon, I'm sure. But of course, first time she's never going to be in class this weekend, but that's okay. We've got it covered. We're fine. She's actually written us lists and everything. So sort of, if you are coming, just be nice to John, because he'll have that little bit more added pressure. But other than that, okay, what are we doing today? Tile number 478. So we're not far off that 500. I've got a darker tile today. I've gone for the regular tile pack just because I wanted to do a little bit of white gel pen work, and I want to bring in my lovely limited edition or my black edition pencils. So if you're ready to go, please don't think that you've actually got to use the same as me. You can still stick with your black if you want to. I'm going to start with my white chalk pencil. I know normally we'd go straight in with a gel pen, but I'm going to use this just like I would my pencil for construction first. So let's give it a go, shall we? So I'm not going to be in the middle. I'm going to sort of start slightly further out. So maybe down here, and I'm going to put myself a little bit of a bubble. I'm only going to do it lightly because I want my white pen to go over the top of this. And this is brilliant for doing this. Just like a regular pencil in, just to make you aware that it is the white chalky one, not the regular white. If you use the regular white one, hang on a second. So that's that one, looks like that, see? That one is not as easy to take the white gel pen over, but this is fine because it's chalk. All right. So I'm going to give myself 3 lines. Now, again, nice and lightly, 3 lines. So I'm sort of splitting the space up around that bubble. I'm going to go a little bit bigger now so we can see what I'm doing. All right. So if I sort of focus on this one first, I'm going to come in about halfway between those. I'm going to put myself a line in like that. And then on this side, I'm going to follow the point, but I'm going to make it just a little bit wider. Like that. So it's not symmetrical. And then if I look at this one, I'm going to come out again like this. And then I'm going to come down and around. So using that line as a little bit of a guide, just to sort of get me started. And then here, about there, look, and I'm going to end up here. So it's going to come out and around and down, okay? So now I don't need those lines. I can come on in, see, and I can get rid of them. Now, of course, using chalk, it's always nice to use a makeup brush. It's not going to move it completely, but that's fine. We know we've got rid of most of it. So at this point, I'm going to bring in my white gel pen. Always take your time with it. Slow down, and you'll be fine. So looking at this bubble in the middle then. Are we ready? I'm going to start on the outside, and I'm going to create a bit of like a... There we go, if I can get it going. There you are. Wiggly line. See? And I'm going to continue with that kind of wiggly line, and I'm going to fill up the whole of the bubble. So it's like this, slightly going over that line if I need to. That's just a guide. Completely filling it with little wobbly lines like that. Okay, you see where I've got some little gaps? I can come in and put little dots in those gaps. So it gives it a little bit of a detail in there. Okay, so far so good. So I'm going to draw in my little sort of leaf shapes. I'm going to try and stick to the lines if I can. Bit of a wobble in there is fine. Okay. Same with this one. Round we go. Same with this. See, I've slowed down a little bit with that pen because I don't want to rush it. It does take a little bit longer than the fine liner. There we go. Bringing it down to a touch. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit now so you can see that's where we're at. So looking at this bottom petal, I'm going to come in from about here and I'm going to put myself a bit of a line in there. See, so it looks like the petal's folding over a bit. And the same with this one. I'm going to come down here and sort of round there. Not looking too bad. So if I turn it now and facing this one, I can put a little bit of that middle line in. And then I'm going to work my way around and put a few more in. See how I'm curving it to the left to match that shape. And then here, a little one to the right to match that. I'm not going to overdo that. Maybe a couple at the top like that. So if I look at this one, similar thing, I'm going to come in the middle where that line was. And then on this side, I'm going to curve it slightly that way. See, they're all different levels. I'll just do a couple there. Maybe a couple there too. All right. So looking at this one, let's put in our curves. I'm not going to do too many, that'll do. Gives me that shape. That's looking all right. So far, so good. Everybody happy with that? Okie dokie. Let's have a look then at this next one. I've got like a little V shape here. So that's where I'm going to put my next one. And if you would prefer to, you can still use your white chalk pencil. But I'm going to come in with, straight in with my gel here. I'm going to come in, see, not too wide. See, it follows it up a bit. And then I'm coming back down. So each side is different, you see. And then if I have a look at this one, so you could turn it if you want to. I'm going to leave it like this so you can see where I'm coming from. So again, I want to aim about from there and I'm going to sort of come in about there and I'm going to go up and slightly down a bit, creating something a little bit flatter there. You got that? And then this one, I'm going to put one in here. So I'm going to start about here. Now it depends on how far down your tile you've drawn it. But I'm not going to go too far up, see. And then I'm going to bring it down here, look. So again, it's not matching, it's not the same. I think I can put a little sort of corner bend in there. And then my space here, I'm going to come up here and bring it down. See a little bit of a wobbly line, a wave at the top there. And I can do another one inside, it gives me that top bit. Okay. So I want to put one here. So I'm sort of working my way around this shape now. And the trick is to not overdo it. We're not trying to make it completely round, but we do want some sort of petals in. And that's the last one I'm going to put in there. And I'm going to work a couple more round here, but nothing at the top and the bottom either. So let's look sort of here first. And I'm going to come in sort of from about there. I'm going to put another line in. There's my petal. Okay, so some of them are quite square compared to others, more pointed. And then one in here, look, sort of up there and along. Then there's one more, I think. It needs one more here just to balance it out. So again, I'm going to sort of come back on myself there. Up and sort of around there. Yeah. I think again, I've got a few of these sort of foldy over petals on this side. So let's bring one in on this side too. I'm not going to sort of match it number for number, but that's pretty good. So if I look at this one, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to add a couple of little lines just in that middle there. And then maybe 2 at the top. This one, I'm not going to do any on. This one, maybe a couple there. It's just going to help me with the shading in a little bit. If I move it round, let's put a couple in there. And once more, look, coming from that point at the bottom. So if I can see the bottom, or almost the bottom on my petal, I'm going to put a few lines in. If I can't, I might not do any, or I might bring in a couple, like that. And that puts us back to where we started in that bottom corner. So for a moment, I'm going to come back to my white chalk pencil. What I want to do up here, I want to imagine that it's got a little bit of a stem coming out here. So let's do like a bit of a V. And perhaps a little bit further up with one there, and one there. And then something similar on this side. So let's bring this one up, sort of up there. See, these can be sort of as wobbly as you want them to be. Like that. So, back to pen. And working on these bits, I'm just going to come in a little bit. I'm going to come in with some little bubbles. Now again, I'm coming straight in with pen. But if you want to, you can do this with pencil. But you've also, remember, you've got your red ruler. It's actually very, look at that, that's quite impressive, look at that. Same size as the holes that you used to sort of put them into your planner. So you could use that if you wanted to. I'm happy going freehand. I don't mind them being slightly different. And let's put sort of a part one there. And let's have a couple more there. So I don't want to sort of make them a row of bubbles. They're sort of a bit of a cluster. I'm just going to move out a little bit. Let's do a few of those on here as well. Similar size, but you know, if they're different, it's fine. Sort of started together and they're breaking off a little bit. And I'm not going to do 3 there. I'm going to do 3 there and I'm going to add another one in there like that. See? Maybe a couple there. Okay. So that now we've got to join them to something. So where we've sort of put those lines originally, we can sort of do a real close double line, and it can disappear off to a point. See that one we've put none on, so it's fine like that. And then this one here, similar kind of thing. Sort of follow the lines, doubling them up, taking them to a point. Again, they don't have to be straight. Couple of lines on there. Into this one, like so. Gives us that. So I'm going to return to my white pencil and I'm going to add a few more lines in, and again just kind of do it lightly. You want to sort of do some wavy bits. So I've filled a little area there, and we'll need a few on this side as well. Maybe one down there. Okay, now that cannot be a tangler. It can't be, because they wouldn't be ringing at this time, would they? They wouldn't. There you go. John to the rescue. Okay, So you see I've got some sort of like lines going around there. Do they not know what time it is? All right, let's go in a little bit closer with these. So I'm going to I'll start with this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of draw around the shape I've drawn. But when I get to the top, so you see here, look, because I'm going to go around, I'm going to put like a little bobble on the end and then come back on myself. Okay, let's do that again. So it's going to kind of go up here, bobble on the end, and back down. And back up, see, working it round, bobble on the end, and back round. So I'm going to follow that shape round. You can add more if you want to, now you know where it's going. Working it round. Bobbles on the end. Like so. Let's have a little look at that. Alright. So I'm going to do the same with these here. Up we go. Bobble on the end. Round we go. Along the line. Bobble on the end. And in. So one more here. Follow it round. Bobble and in. Along, bobble and in. And then back to flower there. Okay. So I'm going to add a couple of little flourishes in, being that we're sort of thinking bobbles. Let's bring in a little line and a little dot on the end. Let's go in a bit bigger. And then if I start by following around that shape like this, and then I'm going to do a zigzag, getting smaller. So I could do another one. See, it's going to go underneath there. Now don't get carried away with these. I know how much you like them. But we're just going to add a few in, sort of around the piece. Let's have a little look. See, I've got 3 in. You can see with these you can bring them over or under what you've already drawn. I'm going to put one there. Okay. Oh, we're all breathing. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to come to my flower here, and I'm going to come back in with that chalk pencil. Okay, let's go in a little bit closer. So remember we put these lines in earlier. I did that for a reason. So I'm going to work my way around. You see where that line is? I'm going to take it up there. This line, I'm going to take it up there. I'm going to work around the bottom, and each time I come to one of those lines, you see, I'm going to follow it, so it's like shadowing it almost. And the same thing here, so I'm going to add some in there, look, and pull a bit of it down. So if I work around to the next one, same process, look, I'm going to follow the line up, I'm going to come around, and then shadow those extra lines. And you see with this, we've got this sort of fold, so definitely needs some underneath that fold there, and I'm going to put a little bit on top there. Okay, bottom one. So again, look, I'm going to work my way round and then pull it up where I've got those lines. Same with this. See, I've extended it out a little bit, the bottom there. You know, artistic license and all that. So, same with the others. So here, look, I'm going to put a bit in there, a little bit round there because that's going to be underneath in shadows. A bit on the top. Same in this one. And along we go. Remember, you can always come back and put some more of this in if you need to later. So if you want to put a little bit less on and see how it goes, then you can do that. works pretty nicely. See this one here I've not done any with, but that's okay. I can go around the edges. It just changes it up a bit. Let's put a little bit in there as well. Follow those lines a little bit around there where it's going underneath. And there. Looks like I've just put it everywhere, doesn't it, really? Same with this one, like no lines on there, but I can bring it around there. And that just means that I've got something to work to. Let's have a little look at that. Okay. So let's bring a tortillon in. Preferably a nice clean one. Well, this one's not too bad. It's got a nice point on it. So if I come back in, my plan is now I'm not going to hold it like a pencil. I'm going to hold it further down, see? Finger and thumb, a bit flatter. Yeah, just using that finger to hold it. And I'm going to very gently pull it out. I'm not swirling or anything. I'm pushing it or pulling it, whichever way you want to look at. That chalk into those petals, you see? And there we are. And it's going to move just like it does with the regular pencil and tortillon. Thank you, John. Cup of tea time. I bet Leslie's not having a cup of tea.
I bet she isn't.
Not at the minute. I bet she could do with a gin when she wakes up, but I don't think she'll be allowed that either. Okay. You see, so I'm trying not to cover everything, trying to leave some of it with the sort of the grey or the black of the tile in the background, just to give it that bit of contrast. Pushing it out. Let's do this one. And you see, pushing it out into that tile. See, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, across there, and into this one. Back and forth. Back and forth. Okay. So we've had to have a bit of a word with Dobby today because yesterday he was leading our poor Kane up the garden path and making out that he'd got permission to show certain things, but he didn't, basically. So he's very sorry that he got caught, and he's promised me he won't do it again this week. So if you didn't see Kane's video yesterday, then you need to go back and have a look at it. Yeah. Dobby's always there when there's trouble, isn't he? Always. He's actually took Maisie out to Mackie's today. They've got the car going, so they've charged it up with some electric. And they've nipped out for a final meal before tomorrow when she goes to Kathy, her new home. She's so excited. She just can't wait. Neither can Dobby. He's fed up of hearing her talking about it. Let's have a little look at that. Okay, that's lovely. So I'm going to bring in one of my black edition. I'm actually going to go with Dobby Grey. And that's because I suppose it's the closest in a sense to the tile. So it's not that I want this to stand out seriously. I want to just come in and do a little bit of detail work. That's going a little bit more. Okay. You see where we've actually put some white on the line here? What I want to do is I'm coming back in with the grey and putting it on the other side of the line. See? Now, you're not going to kind of see it completely, but it's going to give it that little bit of extra darkness that we want. So if I work my way around, there's a bit of a zigzag in there. You see, it's giving it a little bit more shadow. You could use a black pencil, but I think that might be a little bit too much. I think you see it too much. You see that? It's just a little hint. Let's do the same here, look. Just kind of bringing that paper back, isn't it? Okay. So you don't have to do it on every one, but it just means that you've got a little bit of extra depth in there. You know it's there. And sometimes I think when you put a white on, it can sort of overpower the piece, and you don't want to do that. See here, look where that line's sort of going behind that one. A little bit in there. It just gives you a little bit more definition. So look here on these lines, pick one side, back and forth, and then where one of the petals overlaps, you could bring a bit in there. Okay. So you could do it with a regular pencil as well. The thing with that is it tends to shine, doesn't it? You get that bit of a sheen from it. Whereas with this, you're not going to get that. All right. So working in a few of the corners and up and down those lines, just to give it a little bit of shape in there. Well, let's have a look at that. All right. You see we've got a little bit more of a dark area in places. I'm going to bring a little bit in there, look. Just to change it up a bit. If at that point you think, I want to do a bit more, you can always bring your white regular pencil in, and you can bring a bit of definition in. But the chalk is going to move better, see, so. But if you feel that you need a little bit of a highlight, you can bring that in. So, okay, let's have a look at colours then. I'm going to use Locket Lane Orange. And in and amongst my little section in the middle, I'm going to add a touch of that. Now, I'm not going to do it all over. You see, I've just done it at one sort of section. Yeah, left a little bit of a highlight there. Okay. And then we need reds. I think I'm going to go Spanish red. Spanish red. And I'm also going to bring a bit of my Lumo yellow in. Let's just have a look at that for a moment. Lumo yellow. I'm going to lightly put that across all of those little bubbles. Like so. Not pressing on at all. Just adding a level, sort of a layer on there. You see it's going over that chalk line we did earlier. No problem. Okay. So here we go, back to Spanish red. And I'm going to choose again part of a side, and I'm going to put it in. You see like that, like almost like a backwards letter C. And try not to, if I can, going over the white of the pen I drew. A little bit there. And I'm going to keep them all the same way. You don't have to, but I think let's just keep it uniform for this. There we go. Into those little bits. Okay. And then to help with that, I'm going to bring my Locket Lane. Where did I put that? It's amazing how you can lose a pencil. There you go, Locket Lane Orange. Let's bring that back in. I'm going to cover that edge there. So you've got a little bit of difference in there. Okay. See how that kind of works its way around? Little bits. There we go. Doesn't need much blending at all, but it does need a little bit of darkness to it. So I'm going to come in with, one of darker greens. That's like meadow green, and a little bit of it, just a little bit over the top of the reds, just to give it a little bit of shadow there. The same, and of course you don't get berries all exactly the same colour anyway, so having a touch of an extra colour in makes all the difference. Let's have a little look at that. I'm going to add a little bit of that green right around that bottom edge as well. Okay. So in we come. Oh, do I use? Yes, I'm going to use warm ochre. No, not warm ochre. I'm going to use hot chocolate and add a touch of that inside those little sort of stem or sprig shapes there. Again, not pressing on at all, not trying to blend anything, just having a touch of colour in them. Okay, a little bit more in there. And then that brings me to my flower for the last sort of time. Now here we've got quite a bit of colour around, we've done the middle. And this, if we left it, would be lovely, but we do want a little bit of something in there. So I'm coming in with my Mystic Blue. It's kind of a nice chalky kind of blue. I'm going to add a touch of it, just sort of following lines. Let's go in a bit closer. So you see where that line is? Just bringing a bit out. So I'm not trying to colour the whole thing. I want to have a touch, just a touch of colour in there. It's just going to, I say blue's not normally a warm colour, but it is going to warm it up a little bit. Bring a bit of something in there, a bit of interest. You see, always coming from the base of the petal, working outwards. Put a little bit in. I always find it's amazing with these pencils how they go on so easily. You don't need to really press on at all. They're just going to do what they do. Okay, one more here, look. See how that kind of works it in? Let's have a little look. Oh, I've got that one to do there. Look at the difference that's made. And I've not tried to say, I've not tried to colour it in. I just added a touch. One last little bit. This is my Tranquil Blue. And underneath where I added the green, I'm going to put a little bit of that darker blue in there. Just adding that touch in. You see how that's made that look a little bit more kind of 3D in there. There you go. Just makes it a bit of a difference, doesn't it? Okay. So just for a moment, I'm going to go back to my white chalk and just underneath those petals there. I'm not going to add it all the way around, just on the top there where you've got those extra little bits and pieces. Back in with the Tortillon, nice and gently. I'm going to swirl this one. Just going to give that a little bit of shadow in there. So kind of a real autumny kind of feel to this one. It's a little bit of the colours and the season, so that works kind of nice there. So last thing to do is our signature. Now of course, so that's going to be back to my white pen, just make sure it works. Yeah, there's my initials in there. Okay, and this one's for you, Leslie. So when you're up and running and feeling better, I know you're going to enjoy this one. And yeah, there we go, all done. So gosh, what have we got on this weekend? We are doing classes this weekend, so hopefully we'll be sharing some pictures and things that we're going to do. I've got some cracking projects lined up, and if you're not, then I've given you a tile you can have a go at. You could perhaps do this larger. You can make it into more of a little bouquet and try some other bits and pieces with it. Maybe doing it on one of the olive green kind of tiles would look nice as well. So let's see how you work with that. So have a lovely weekend, everybody. I'm sure us at HQ are going to have as well. So it's going to be fun. But other than that, take care, enjoy, and I will catch you all again, as usual, on Tuesday. Okay, bye.